Hey everyone, welcome back again. Another new day here at Redneck Coachworks. Just going to get started on this right hand side airbox vent rust repair, and figured I'd take you along, show you what's going on here. So I got all of the rust or undercoating. For some reason they put really heavy undercoating on these things on the box from top to bottom. Got you all tangled up in the hoses here. So this was all cracked and full of this real heavy undercoating crap. But as you can see here, this is all rusted out right here. There's a crack goes across here, and then this piece here is rusted out. So, and it looks like there's a piece missing on the bottom here. So what I'll probably do is I'll make a repair that comes across here like this and down, and then I'll do this piece separately just because there's so many compounds to the way it's made here. This is made out of really thin steel, or it's thin because they had to stretch it so much to get it to fit. And then this is spot welded along the bottom edge of the frame, or the pinch weld here. So I'm going to get this cut open. We'll make a new piece and see how it goes from there. Okay, so we're back again. I got these two pieces cut out that I have to replace. This one here, I had 3 spot welds to cut, and then this piece here I just zipped it down and cut it across the top, and then I'm left with the flange that was spot welded to the to the rest of the door hinge pocket here. And what I'm doing, I'm using my die grinder with a 3-inch cutting disc on it, and just working from the outside. Thin the metal down over top of the spot weld until you get through to the rusty part, and they usually pop right off. Takes a little bit of screwing around. I find it easier and better than drilling. You don't end up with damage on the back side. They're all over the place with their spot welds here. And as you pry down, you'll find the next one. So I'll continue on. I'll get this piece off. I'm going to try and save it for a pattern, and then I'll bend a piece, a 90 on it, and then I'll use a shrinker stretcher to put the curve in it here. Okay, here we are again. This frickin' rotten onion. So once I got in here, I found more rust as usual. So this was all rusted out on the corner here. And then this piece goes like this. Sorry, like this. And this was the other part of it. And that's what ties into the floor. And it's all rotten from the backside. So what I'm going to do is make a new piece to go in here, and then found another hole just up in here in the airbox part. So I'm going to put a patch on that as well. So it just keeps unfolding. Okay, so here's the new piece. As you can see, it's got 3 bends in it. The first bend I did in my brake, and then the other 2 I had to do by clamping it to my piece of I-beam, bending it, and then marking the next one and bending it. I'll get it set in here. A couple magnets. Try to anyhow. I did have it fitting really well. little too tight on the bottom here. Oh yeah, I got to trim a little bit in here. So, okay, I'll get that trimmed out, and then I can get this piece tack welded in. We got it all tacked in there. Just going to start spot welding it now. Not really worried about warpage, as it's just the airbox. Probably help if I could see what I was doing, but okay, I'm going to get this piece welded in, get it ground down, then I'll start on this piece of the patch here. Actually, I better plug this hole up on the inside here first, so bring you back. Okay, so I've got, this is all welded up. I've made a patch to go in here, put seam sealer on both of those. Then I took a piece of 18 gauge here. It was just flat. I broke it at 90 degrees. And then I shrank it here and stretched it here to get the S shape that goes on the side there. Then I put a break here to line up at the top here. And this piece will go just like that. And then I'll have to make this piece to go over to connect the whole thing together here. So next thing I got to do is get this welded in, tacked in, and then start on the final piece here to fill this in. On this piece, if you don't have a shrinker stretcher, wherever it's got the S in it, you could just do a pie cut or just a relief cut, bend it, and then weld that up when you go to put them in here. So, okay, I'll get this all tacked in place. Got this piece all welded in. I got the plug welds done, welded around the top. And then what I did was I took this edge, was pointing kind of out at a 45-degree angle, and I just used the dolly in here, and I turned it to follow the same plane as this. What it'll do is make this piece a whole lot easier to fit in here. So now I got to try and figure out how to make this piece, and then that'll be all closed in. All I have to do is build a drain on the bottom here that'll keep the mice out. That's one of the big egress holes for mice. There's just a light tin flap that was over top of that originally, and it was all bent out straight in. Talk about a perfect door for the mice to get in. Once they're in here, they're into the roof. So, okay, I'll get to work on this next piece here. Well, I really lucked out here. This is the piece that I cut out. As you can see, it's in pretty bad shape. And I used it for a pattern for making the new one. And I can't believe it fits that well first try. So I'm going to get this tacked in here, get her all welded up, and we can call this good. I've got weld through primer on all of the areas where it's going to touch here. So okay, I'll get this tacked in here, and we can finish this part off, and then we'll start working on this area right here that's got rust in it from about here down. So okay guys, we're back again. I got this all finished up here. I got everything primed, ready to go for some undercoating. Instead of a flap at the bottom here, what I did was I put a V that's sloped down, so any water that comes down can run out the outside here. This hole might still be big enough to let a mouse in, so I might just put a little screw-on cap on there, or just a rubber flap or something to stop the mice from getting in. So the next thing we're working on here, so let me get you down a little lower, is this hinge pocket cover. This is the piece that goes over top of it. I cut it back to good steel. So what I have to do is get this shape into this piece of steel. It just gives clearance for the hinge here to turn out. So I'll just take you over to the other side and show you what I got set up. So normally, a guy would build a buck with the outside shape of what you want. I don't feel like doing that for one piece, so I'm going to try something a little different here. What I've got is a piece of 18 gauge. I have the bottom plates from my press. I have the piece sandwiched, piece of 18 gauge sandwiched, and I have a gap the width of this opening in between the two plates, and I'm going to take a ball peen hammer and I'm going to start working this down till I get the depth and the shape that I want here, and then I can straighten the edges out, break this side, and see what happens. So once I start whacking on this and I get it all shaped here, I'll bring you back. I'm sure you don't want to listen to this. Okay, that took about 2 minutes. I got a ton of shape in that. Everything stayed pretty straight on the sides. What I'm going to do is take it to the planishing hammer and smooth out the center of it, and then I'll see if I can trim it up to fit this piece that I've got here. So, oh, sorry about that. Here we are, another new day. I took and I ran this piece that I beat through the planishing hammer, got it straightened out. I had when I laid it out, I didn't follow my plan properly, and I left the extra material for the 90 on the wrong side, so I had to beat this over, and I just put a round dolly in the vise and then hammered this over, and it moved the whole hump over like a wave. I broke this 90 on here. I did some stretching to get this bend around the bottom, and then I broke this over to go on the bottom, and I'll just show you what we have for fit here. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 3 tacks on it, one here, and one on the bottom, and I'm going to make sure that my fender still fits. Make sure there's clearance on that bracket that goes up and down on the, and then once I do that, I can clean this all up. I can put weld through primer on the back side of this, and then I can weld this piece in. I've since found some rust holes here, so now I'm going to have to replace a piece of this section as well. So I'm going to put this one in first, get a couple of tacks welded to the bottom here, and then I can build this piece on the side here using the hinge as the alignment for it. Okay, so here we have, I have this piece is all done. I've got it welded in, fastened to the lower mount for the fender. I got all the shape. What I'm going to do now is replace this piece right here that comes down where the hinge goes through, and that'll tie up the last of the rust repair on this corner, and then I'll just have the A-pillar hinge mount to do on both sides. So once I get this cut out, I'll show you the next step here. Okay, so I have this piece cut out where the hinge goes. It's got this depression around it, which I'll put in with the bead roller. It's got a slight bend here, and this is some of the rear structure that I have to build after I get the hinge pocket all done here. So I'll get this all cut out and then get it fit. Let's see if I can get you up here. And it'll get welded in here for the forward hinge mount there. Okay, we got this piece all made up. I ran it through the bead roller, put this depression in for the hinge, just like the original piece, whatever I did with it. Then there's an offset in here to allow us to get it into the lower fender mount. So now all I have to do is finish welding this piece in, dress everything up, put some primer on it, and I'm ready to start on to the next part of this project. So I'll get this welded up and bring you right back. Okay, there's the finished repair on this pocket. We got the hole drilled, everything's bolted in, welded in, dressed up. I got everything with red oxide primer on it. Next thing we're going to do is replace, just let me get this, just this lower piece here where the hinge bolts in on this side. We have a few rust holes around the bottom here. So I'm just going to dissect just this piece out of here and weld a new one in out of those A-pillars that I've got. So that'll be the next thing I bring you back for. We'll get that done on both sides, and then the only thing I have left to do is I'm going to leave access here for now, and then I have to build a piece on the back side to cover in this hinge pocket to keep the dirt and the mice out of the inside of that tunnel there. And then I've got two small repairs to do on the inner cab corners. I just have to make a filler piece about 3 inches wide that goes around, ties the bottom of the cab corner into those drop down extensions that I put onto the cab corners there. So that'll be the next thing we do. Hoping to get started on that tomorrow. That'll take care of this one, and hopefully you can see I shaped those parts with basic hand tools other than my planishing hammer, and you could use a dolly and a hammer to do that. I just beat the piece of steel into submission the way I wanted it shaped, and Bob's your uncle. So anyhow, guys, once again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the new subscribers and all the old subscribers. Take care, everyone.